Hey kids, you trying to get into Segment City? Well, you really shouldn't, because Segment City is a mature podcast, and listener discretion is advised. I'm just trying to look at... I know I'm in an alleyway. I know how I look, but I got some fireworks for you kids. I got snakes and I got sparklers. That's all I got. Oh, don't give me that.
Will, what is the maximum number of employees you've ever seen in an ice cream shop at one time?
Ooh.
And and can you assign them bespoke jobs when you're listing them out?
The most employees, I would say there's a Dairy Queen in my hometown.
Sure.
That was probably the biggest place, because like ice cream places, not terribly big.
Not huge. No, you're in.
Huge.
You have to order. You get your ice cream. You're out the door, basically.
If I'm looking in my mind's eye, I'm saying at least 10 employees, not counting the manager.
10 employees in a Dairy Queen.
4 at the front. I'm gonna say 2 doing something. 2 on cashier.
Yes.
Or 2 on drive-through, I should say.
Right. Any in the back?
I think 2 in the back, and then I think there's like 2 people who are just like 6 people in the front total, but like 2 of the people are just helping out everybody. Like I don't know. I feel like there's like a center group of 4 people, I should say.
Okay.
And then like cashiers and stuff.
So
but anyway, yeah. 10.
I just came back from a trip, and I went to a gelato shop, and this place
it's gonna be more than 10.
No.
It's gonna be 20.
No, it is 10 people, but the size of the place. Imagine like
now here's the
corner shop where you'd like pick up a coffee, and now imagine 10 employees in this place.
Because there is a little bakery down the street from me, and it's like people there are little chairs that you cannot sit. The people who sit there are Irish people in the corner who go literally at one point sung a ballad while I was there, which was amazing. I loved it. So they were like, "Oh, McGregor," and you're just like, "Oh, it's happening!" Like, I can't believe this. But like they get to that size for an ice cream shop where people are like running around each other, throwing gummy bears on it.
10 people. As far as I could tell, there was 1 person taking order. There were 2 people scooping gelato and putting it into cups and cones. There was 1 man whose whole job was to go fetch cones from the back and bring them out. That was his whole deal.
Wow.
And then there were 6 people who were just shooting the shit. Who were just
there. Okay. So what I thought
it was also like a busy evening, and there was like a line out the door, and 6 people were just like having a good time on the company dime.
Their last job was as construction workers.
Yes,
so they got used to it.
Union.
Yeah,
and we ordered our gelato, and we were waiting there for a while, and then we realized that people who were in line after us were starting to get their ice cream. They lost our order. 10 people. They lost our order. There was a point at which the cone guy came out of the back and literally bumped into 2 people on his way to put down the cones. You might have too many employees. If you have him bumping into 2 different people, you might have too many employees.
This is a weird version of you might be a redneck.
Yes.
You might have too many employees if you have 1 guy on cone duty.
All I'm saying is we're hearing about these mass tech layoffs and everything like this. Listen.
What, you're bringing it back to that? That's your takeaway? That
My
these
takeaway
ice
is
cream
you probably don't need 10
peddlers?
people. It's a lot of people for gelato.
That is I'm going to say because I imagined too many cooks. Yeah. Kind of too many worker bees, but you're saying it is half of them were just kind of doing nothing.
I think it was maybe my most American takeaway where I was like, you could run this place with 3 people and turn up the profits. That was my
so much efficiency.
Yeah, my very Western brain got in there and was trying to disrupt this.
Ooh, that's as somebody who's worked at a fast food place where you had to serve food.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that manager did not immediately like pull out a whip and go, "If you can lean, you can clean."
Listen, I think the manager. I think there might have been.
I
think there might have been 4 managers, and there were 4 of the 6 people just having a good time. All right. That's
I mean, managers also do the least amount of work,
right?
Like physically.
Yes.
But it is. Yeah, that's. I like your terrible takeaways.
My terrible capitalism takeaways. And I had to stifle that and be like, you know what? This is just very good gelato, actually. At the end of the day, we got our cones. Great gelato.
But here's the thing, Theo. I feel like you could describe this program that we're recording right now as a bunch of bad takeaways.
You probably
from all the things that we've said on this goddamn podcast, I don't think a lot of them have been good for us. But what podcast is that? You might be asking yourself. It's Segment City. My name's Will Kane, and I'm the manager, and I gotta say, if you can lean, Theo, you can podcast.
And I'm Theo Sabakos.
That's just talking. That's just talking.
That's just talking. I'm Theo Sabakos, and you can bet your ass I'm the cone guy. I'm that fucking cone guy, all right? Every day of the week, I know my role. I'm contributing. I know what's up.
Theo, I know for a fact that you were not the member. In order to be the cone guy, you have to be the member of the project group in school that did no work.
No, cone guy was actually doing something.
Cone guy was
the rest of them.
Oh, that's, you know what? That is actually fair. But he is being given the like.
He's the water boy. He's absolutely the water boy. Yeah.
He's getting the grug treatment.
There was
just
also
like, Grug, go and get some cones, and he's like, Grug, go get cones. That's all Grug could do.
There was also a very good moment where I noticed they were all wearing name tags, and they would be like, my name is Sasha, or my name is, whatever. And then the guy who was serving us ours, it just said, my name is New. Just new. You don't deserve a name yet. You haven't earned it. You're just going to go by New until you're ready.
That's hazing. That tells you know what? The more that you talk about it, the more it's just the epitome of fast food. Like workplaces, managing a bunch of people not doing anything, hazing. I
like that's pretty much the equivalent of like the student driver sticker on the car. Like, please be patient. Like, I'm just trying my best out here. Like, I don't know what's up.
I mean, yeah, I have that. I had a weird thought because this is maybe getting too specific, but the bakery that I said before, they have to have a study abroad program for that bakery because every like semester they have a new batch of Irish girls.
Love it.
That they like ship in. And I was like, it was like January 1st. They weren't like opening January 1st, but like after that, where it's like the next semester, I'm like, these are different employees. Like, I go like maybe once a week. I can tell. Like,
there's not that many employees. I can learn all of them.
Yeah. But Theo, let's get right into the podcast, which I didn't even describe what the podcast is. This is a podcast in which Theo and I dumpster dive our way through the internet, and we get all those good comedy morsels for you, and we package them into segments. And we're going to start with, this was going to be a Will Stupid Thought, but this is Will's weird rabbit hole, I'm going to say. It's a tiny rabbit hole.
Okay.
But it was one that
shallow rabbit hole.
It took a lot of... It was tricky. Because for context, I was reading a book about Victorian history. And one of the things that they brought up was like nutrition and the different, like how things changed over time. And one of the things that they said was people in the north, like in Scotland and like places that in England would be considered the north, had better diets because they would have barley and like potatoes and things like that. And then
there was a time in history where potatoes was considered a good part of your diet. That's wild. That's a fun history fact for you. Don't say we never taught you anything on Segment City, all right?
Theo, I don't think you've ever had more egg on your face than you're about to have.
William, I'm from the Mediterranean, all right? We were eating fish and fresh veggies. And these potatoes. Get out of here. What are you talking about? When you were eating your 45th potato, I was eating an octopus with a nice horiatiki, all right? That's what I was on, all right?
I have been rubbing olive oil on my skin. I'm actually eternal. It keeps me alive.
I have been scooping up salt from the banks of the Mediterranean.
To form my olives, and they're going to be wonderful. But in the South, they would only have like bread and beer and like maybe some oats or whatever, and they had worse nutritional outcomes because they said in the book, potatoes contain most of the nutrients you need.
What?
And that's the exact thing I said. I said, what do you mean? Potatoes,
what do you
the
mean?
thing that, as a friend of mine once said, is just a vehicle for fat and salt.
Yeah. Yes.
And it turns out, so this is where we get into the rabbit hole kind of part of this.
So you're telling me people do
tried to formulate, I didn't know if the potato thing was right. Like when I was trying to formulate a question in my own head of what is the minimum variety of foods that you could eat and still be alive.
This is the banana diet, but you can't actually survive on just bananas. You can't.
So that brought me to a bunch of different websites, which but I'm going to only shortly go over them.
Okay.
Very Well Fit says, what is the monodiet? Didn't even know there was a fucking name for it. Monodiet,
so
which is
one food.
What you have one food. Yeah, you could intuit what it is.
Yes, my one food is a T-bone steak. I only eat one thing.
You eat just a T-bone steak. You are a cartoon dog. You are not a band. You are just
monodiet caviar.
This is that person who's like, if they had a pill that would give me all the nutrients, I would not eat anything. Like,
well, I think there are some people who really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what those it's for those people. Some different variation of the monodiet include banana monodiet, which you said, which I'm gonna say is probably the most wild of these, because somebody once said to me, "Have you ever eaten 2 bananas in a row?" And I said, "I don't think so." and it's like once you finish that and then I tried to, and after you finish the first banana, your body goes, "You're good. You got all the potassium, dude."
I think I've eaten 2 bananas in a row. Just as like a...
This is just to say, bananas aren't like hot dogs. You can't, it's hard to eat a bunch of them.
What is that a challenge to Joey Chestnut out there in the ether? He's always ready.
He's got the muscle memory for it. I don't think the nutrition's going to work.
Yeah, but he would slop it down with the whole peel. He wouldn't even take it out of the
peel. He would eat it like he's Donkey Kong. Like he'd just be like squirting it into his mouth. They also have egg monodiet, which I kind of understand a little bit more.
I mean, it's
potato
got
monodiet,
protein, yeah,
and even a chocolate monodiet.
I don't know about that. That's some Willy Wonka fucking bullshit campaign that they're trying to pull on you.
Absolutely. The funniest part of this article is they have the gall to have a section called "What You Cannot Eat." Bitch, everything. It's a monodiet.
It's a monodiet.
What are you talking about?
Anything except for you only have to remember one thing.
Yeah, and then they do pros and cons. The first one is simple to follow.
Because you're a big dum-dum and you can't remember more than one food.
And they're like cons. You do get short-term weight loss, but like everything's not going to go great. Like you're not going to have like you're like having increased cravings. It's dangerously restrictive. May lead to binge eating.
Yeah,
so it doesn't promote healthy habits.
Cons, it's bad for you.
Like a lot of bad things
for you. It's mostly bad. I would say, so your question about what is the minimum number of foods to make a complete diet, I think that's actually a pretty interesting question. Like if you were to throw a couple vegetables and like egg is probably really good. Like I bet egg being in there is probably great.
Yeah.
Vegetable and egg? Can you get away with just 2? Vegetable and egg? Like if your diet was just like broccoli and eggs, could you survive on that for a long time? Probably.
So Valley Food Storage is the only source I could find that kind of answers this question.
Okay.
And it says what 5 foods could you survive on, and I think this is like a extremely well balanced. I think you could maybe cut some of these out, but this is what a website to answer your question of. Are like 2 of them completely complete?
Are 2 of them like rice and beans?
Potatoes.
Okay.
That's kale.
Yeah, great.
Trail mix.
Okay.
It just says grains and beans.
You have grains and potato. I guess, yeah, okay, I can see that.
So protein. And that would be complete, I think. But if you could live on one thing, they say that you can technically live on potatoes.
Okay.
But the takeaway was you could do this for a while. You could not do it long term. because it doesn't have all the nutrients, and you're gonna like miss out on certain things, and then it's gonna get like if you somehow balance it out with like tablets or like supplements, then it would maybe help. But
have you ever heard of anybody that do like the complete palate reset, where they eat just potatoes for like, they eat literally only potatoes without anything on it, just unsalted potatoes for 2 weeks, and then because the whole point is like you're resetting your neural pathways for taste, and then like they eat one blueberry and their mind fucking explodes. Have you ever heard of this?
No, because
this is a real thing. This is a real thing that people do. This is a real thing people do.
I'm sorry, people are edging food now.
Yes, are you kidding me? Absolutely.
No, but the fact that because like people do this for like weed, where you go on a tea break, a tolerance break, because like you'll become if you have too much weed, it messes like
you build up a immunity to it.
Immunity, yeah. But that they're doing this, that they think taste buds are like your fucking.
But apparently, that's what people ever. I've listened to that interview with the guy who did it, and he said like, it like blows your mind. Like you can't handle. He's like, I ate one piece of asparagus and I was like bent over and I couldn't, like my brain couldn't handle it. Like it was too much flavor. One piece of asparagus.
God. I do love people sometimes.
They're
great. Even think to do that. That's fucking insane.
I'm happy to hear about it. I couldn't in no way, shape, or. How long do you think you could go on an only potato diet? How long do you think you could last?
That's another very
interesting
question.
I think I eat a potato for breakfast and I'm like, this sucks. And by the time I get to lunch, I'm like, I'm done. I don't think I last long at all.
It's the question of, can I have it in different forms?
No, it has to be
French fries.
It has to be unsalted. The whole point is that it's as bland as you can make food. It is unsalted boiled potatoes.
Boiled potatoes, not even like a baked potato.
No. Ooh. I guess a baked potato is bland enough. I'll allow you a boiled potato and a baked potato. I'll allow you that. Yeah, but unsalted, no toppings.
How long could I go like that?
Yeah.
I think I would go a month and then I would start going.
A month? Are you kidding me? I drive by your house one time with McDonald's in my car. You're abandoning ship in me. You get a waft of a hamburger, you're done. What are you talking about?
This is, you didn't let me finish. That this is the point where I am carving in the walls potato, like, boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew. Like that's when I've gone crazy. That's when I can't stand it anymore. I'm gonna tear my hair out. When I would be sick of it, day one.
Yeah,
I would.
Right. Yeah,
I wouldn't be like happy with it at any point. But if I could probably go for a month, if there's a reward at the end, especially.
That's just your superior Irish genetics. That really shows. I could never compete with that.
It's just the luck of the Irish. The famine really created an urge in us.
Give me tzatziki. I need
any potatoes around me. I must consume like Pac-Man. Tis me Irish blood. It is. You see. Oh, this is. But anyway, I think the to answer the base question, yes, you can eat just potatoes.
Wild.
Specifically, only. Potato-only diets anywhere from 2 months to a full year with improvements in health markers and often weight loss. The protein in potatoes is complete and readily available. However, it does not occur in significant quantities, so for growing children or those desiring to add muscle, it is recommended to add lean proteins like fat and seafood. So, like,
you're telling me that...
to, like, you'd survive. You wouldn't be, like... Conan.
You don't think that Arnie, when he was bulking up, was lifting weights and then pounding a jug full of mashed potatoes, just downing it for its protein content, slurping it down?
I had mashed potatoes last night after a while of not having mashed potatoes because honestly, they're a little bit of pain to make. But I was like, I remembered how much I love mashed potatoes. It's like, no. Great, it's wonderful. Hey,
you know what would be great? A good gag. Go to the gym and bring a blender bottle full of mashed potato. I think that would be insane. That would be hilarious. Just during your middle reset, just slurping down mashed potato.
Here's the thing. You pull out another packet with one of the like wire mesh balls. Like it's one of those. But it's just gravy packet. And you put that in. And you shake it up.
Yeah.
You put it in.
That's great.
Have you ever seen the movie Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger? The one plot point that I think is like complete stupid, even though it's a fantasy movie, is that because he was like a slave as a kid and they just take him out to the desert and he pushes a big wheel for like 20 years and then he becomes Arnold Schwarzenegger. Literally, they do like a fade to like of him being a scrawny kid and then he's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So they did a Sisyphus and they were like, and now.
I'm sorry, did all of their food have like every single hormone and every single like performance enhancers? Works. That's not they're probably like feeding him like nothing, like barely, no potatoes. Definitely not.
Definitely
maybe
not.
like a tiny bit of bread. How's he getting
they didn't show that they were just like
calories.
Hey, good day's work, good lift. Here's a protein shake. Yeah. Bulk up, get swole, gotta get bulked. Yeah.
Gotta get too bulk. But anyway, let's move on to your next segment.
Well, can you believe it? This is the first time we're recording in calendar year 2024. And you know what that means? It's time for the rules. We're here.
Oh, God.
We're here.
No, I forgot about it.
Time. It's rule time, baby. This, of course, once a year, at the top of the year, I impose new rules for the year. And they are cumulative, so I will go over the past rules. It all started in 2019 when I declared that it was time to class it up. No more pasta from a can. No more pajamas in the workplace. COVID kind of put a damper on that one.
Yeah, that didn't age well. And so, I mean, pasta in the can.
Yeah.
Ages well technically. In that pasta in the can ages
in a zombie apocalypse, you could still eat it. And finally, no more sporks. That was my most hardline one, and I stand to that to this day. No more sporks.
And I have made fun of you for that ever since by giving you gifts of spork t-shirts and survival sporks.
You know, I will say that I wore the spork t-shirt you gave me once. And I received a compliment, and it was the most angry thank you I've ever given out in my life.
That's what I wanted, and I'm so happy about it.
Yes. Okay, 2020. 2020, weird year. Weird year for rules. We didn't know it at the top. I was number 1, no strollers on the subway. I still think this is true. I think you should get that shit out of there.
This is... I think I get mad when they have the full stroller out and the baby is walking next to him.
Yes,
like
right.
Just put that. Then you put it into compact mode.
Yeah. Minimum speed limit signs from just moving in public. You know when you're in the airport and somebody is just standing in the middle of the hallway or moving really slowly and are on their phone?
I didn't remember this one because this is what I maybe thought in high school when I was like, I gotta get to my class. Get out of my way.
I still feel that way, Will. Number 3, recycling has been around for long enough that everyone should know the rules. Recycling is now mandatory. Police officers are the same as garbage men and interchangeable. Garbage men now can enforce the law. That was my rule. It went out the window with COVID. What can you say?
Yeah, COVID did. I will say that in Boston now they have we have a compost, like a little tiny green recycling bin that is just for compost.
I love that guy. Yeah, it's so good. No more stinky trash.
We have one.
I'm all on board with that.
Yeah, that's the good kind of recycling that I'm especially about.
2021. All things that seem like vegetables are vegetables. I don't want to hear, well, actually, cucumber's a nut. Like, I don't want to hear that shit.
Every year, I like forget at least one of the. I think I remember one or two every year, and then every once in a while, I forget one. And like this is what I've forgotten, where I didn't remember the anti-vegetable.
No more coddling about things that aren't cute. If your baby isn't cute, I'm going to tell it to your face. All right? That was a good one, and I stand by that one. If your baby isn't cute, I'm going to tell it to your face.
That's your roast Larry David. if your baby's not cute, I'm going to just tell it to its face. What? I mean, it can't understand English. What, is it going to really hurt its self-esteem? Like, come on.
This one is one of my more boomery ones. No more acronyms that you have to go look up. I should be able to tell what it means from the letters. That's just a boomer take. Honestly, I don't think that one aged that well.
This is also, as somebody who enjoys stuff about like alien conspiracy theories, you would have a fucking conniption if you saw any of these UFO, like, because they're all like MUFON is like the best one. MUFON, and that's a good one. Yeah, there's not. Yeah, the rest are like Kasokafov. Like they're way too long. It's always like the association of a bunch of like-minded gentlemen who look to the stars with interest. Like it's stuff like that. It's awful.
in game dev, maybe software dev, we have FTUI, first time user experience. I think that looks
I've
fun
never
to
heard
say.
that.
FTUI.
That sounds like you're spitting.
You're hawking a loogie, yeah.
FTUI.
2022, no more bumper stickers with writing on them. This is a specific reaction to "This car climbed Mount Washington." Fuck that bumper sticker in particular.
Okay. My rule for that year, I'm going to add my tack on of like Will's little addendum, specifically that
one. What are you trying to prove?
I'm
what are you proving?
Because my girlfriend has a bunch of other bumper stickers, so I have to defend her on principle.
But this rule is really...
If she put that onto her car, I think I would destroy the car.
We would have words. Yes, we would have strong words. I also wanted to get rid of no more mini condiment packets. I stand by that. I don't like mini condiment packets. I think they're bad form factor. They either need a redesign or they need to go away entirely. I would prefer away entirely.
I'm gonna do my Will addendum of my my middle of the road addendum.
Okay, you're very moderate take.
Only if you ask for it. I hate places that give you plastic forks and knives when you don't ask
when you
for
don't need it. Yeah, especially you're like, I'm just bringing this home. I have metal silverware at home. I don't need this.
That's something very COVID. That's aged. I mean, it was after COVID, so it aged with COVID.
And no more paper receipts, which I still just think there's something there. We could do less paper receipts. I will say CVS has pared down on paper receipts. They don't default to it. They don't default to giving it to you anymore. You have to press a button, either paper receipt or email, or you can say no thanks. They don't default give it to you anymore.
Such a nice. Yes. That's so nice because they would give you the lore.
They were actively
CVS.
They had made a pipeline from the Amazon rainforest into each of their stores for the amount of paper they needed.
Believe it or not, they had a full copy of the Count of Monte Cristo. And they're every single, just the fucking tome of receipt.
Right.
Every single time. It's amazing.
Last year's rules, no more bless you after sneezing. We're done with it.
This is now, I'm going to say this is where we've crested over. You've learned from COVID. Now COVID has made you cynical. Because you go, I live with one other person. If she makes any noise, I tell her, shush, don't you make any noise. None of that. So Eddie sneezes.
I think I'm too polite for this rule. I like to think I'm brash and bold. I was too polite. I kept saying thank you.
I'm gonna make these rules, and therefore everybody has to deal with them except for me. I'm not gonna do them because you know what? That'd be uncomfortable. That'd be rough.
Number 2, no more kids in first class. That seat is too big and too expensive, and they don't appreciate it. And this one affects me every time I see it. Gets me riled up.
I do. Okay, I'm gonna say I understand the rile up. This is probably a repeat from last year, but I will add the addendum of. Did you come up with a plan of what to do with the children? Because the parents aren't going to not
we
be
can
in first
put
class.
them in the kids section with a soundproof door. They can go away.
So that they're with the black box of the plane where it's like indestructible box where they just have like crayons.
And once you've gotten to the age where you can learn to sit quietly, you're good. You're out of the black box. It's great.
I do agree that if I think it's what did you do to deserve this?
Yeah.
The actual Nepo babies. They got in on first class.
Whenever I book a flight, I take a gander at how much it would be to upgrade to first class. I've never once done it because it's absurd. How much do you think a first class trip from Boston to Japan costs?
First class to Boston, Japan?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
It's a 14-hour flight. For 14 hours of your life, how much money do you think you would spend on that first class? Literally, like, for 14 hours of your entire existence. What do you think they charge for that?
So I don't know what the base like coach would be. I'm gonna say the coach was probably hundreds. I don't know if it got to 1,000 for coach. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say this is my guesstimate.
Okay.
So based on that, I'm gonna say it was like 20,000, like something crazy.
Guess what? It was for coach. It was like 1,100 round trip.
Okay, that round trip's not bad
for a one-way ticket from Boston to Japan. $40,000, William. These little shits, these kids, they don't know what they've got. All right,
that's $40,000 is a tuition.
It's a year of college,
like a year of college
for 14 hours of your life.
Holy
yes,
shit.
I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, if there was a flight that I would want that for. It would probably be that one, but the money is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my
number
God.
number three for last year, more soup of the day. I like soup of the day. We can use more soup of the day.
And I'm going to say I like this one because it's a positive one. A lot of the ones are get rid of your babies, get rid of your children, throw them out the window. This one is like, more soup, please.
Babies over there. More soup, please.
This is the adult zone now that I'm an adult.
The adult soup zone.
Garçon, bring me the soup, please.
All right,
Not
and
to
now
the
the big reveal, 2024. New rules. New year, new rules. Number one.
Oh, also, I'm going to say, if people could not tell that we pre-record these, they 100% know that we're doing this in fucking February. Like, this episode is going to come out like way late. But anyway, we can do the rules whenever.
Number one. I'm interested in your reaction in this one.
I'm ready.
No more white chocolate. We're done. We're cutting it off.
Wow.
It's not chocolate, and it's not good. Is this a hot take? I feel like this is a... Uh-huh.
We are going to have words now.
Oh, we are. Okay, all right. I love it when that means it's a good rule, when it gets the people riled up.
Because this is actually very well timed in that I just gave you props for adding more joy with more soups of the day.
Yeah.
This is taking out something and not replacing it is what I'm going to say.
All I'm suggesting...
You're minusing white chocolate because there are people who like white... I don't mind white chocolate. I like it, especially if it's like a medley of chocolates. It's a nice like change of pace for chocolates. But if you're not going to even replace it with something delicious, then this is a negative.
All I'm saying is when you're reaching for the white chocolate this year, instead, by default, always, it's just going to be milk or dark chocolate. There's not going to be white chocolate anymore. All right? It's going to be gone.
I like that how you phrase that because that implies that there's a magical reality where like a genie like snaps his fingers.
Like,
and
whoa, no!
A nice white chocolate, and you go, Is this dark chocolate? What happened? Like, where'd it go? Or I thought you were gonna say, put down your white chocolate, pick up your gun, put it in your mouth, and fire if you're gonna think that white chocolate's delicious.
No, it's like Matthew McConaughey is behind the bookshelf and he's seeing in, and instead
his daughter,
yes,
and she's reaching for it, and he's going, no!
She's reaching for the white chocolate, and he's behind the bookshelf, and he swaps in milk chocolate. Boom! You never knew.
Okay. I will rephrase this from your rule of the year is not to like kill everybody that do a purge on white chocolate eaters. It's for you personally. You will not.
No, it's for everyone.
For that white chocolate.
No one's allowed.
Okay, no, fuck that. This is fascism again. Once again, we've
every year we get a little closer.
This is the quickest we've gotten to fascism.
It's for everyone.
The first one.
I will say this. When I was visiting Japan, I had a number of different Kit Kat flavors, most of them based in white chocolate, and most of them bad. I'm putting that out there.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm fighting back. As I do with a lot of these rules.
They had
a
white chocolate,
silly
white chocolate wasabi flavored Kit Kat. It was horrible.
And that's on you. And you think the white chocolate was the problem with that one?
Listen, if white chocolate didn't exist, they wouldn't have gotten fucking uppity and gotten the idea to put wasabi in there, all right? They never would have done that with milk chocolate.
You're just like, look at this little baby wasabi. Like, wasabi wouldn't even have gotten near it if it wasn't for the influence of that terrible white chocolate.
White chocolate is a gateway drug into other terrible flavors.
I'm going to make my own rule. Ready? Hershey's chocolate. You know, regular Hershey chocolate bars.
Yeah.
Blow up the factory. No more of it.
Hey, Willie, Secret Forces Oompa Loompas, I had no part of this. All right? I had nothing to do with this guy. I don't know what's going on.
We have eyes on him. We take the order, William Wonka. We need to dig him out.
They're going to come here and they're going to be Oompa Loompa Loopati Bontanamo. You're about to go down to Guantanamo. The Oompa Loompa Secret Forces just swoop in.
Oompa Loompa Doopity Dee. Lyricist we didn't claim to be.
Oh my god. So that's rule number one.
Oh, we were already on the first one. By the way, I say no on Hershey chocolate because it tastes like vomit. It's once you have like actually good white, like or good milk chocolate, you can't go back to Hershey's chocolate.
Not gonna fight you there. Number 2. This is probably less controversial, but maybe not.
Okay, let's see how far we get into fascism.
Music genres should be a maximum of 2 words long, excepting the word and, meaning rock and roll is okay. R and B, okay.
Interesting. Do you
I have examples.
Okay, that's what I need.
This was specifically triggered by somebody saying that they were listening to bubblegum synth pop, and I said that fucking sucks. I hate that name. Why is it bubblegum? Why can't it just be synth pop? What's the problem? Yeah. So examples, I have funk, punk rock. Yeah. Even something as wild as German reggae. Fine. I don't mind.
Wait,
I'm not bothered.
No. Time up. Whatever you're doing as a segment right now, it's over. Because we're now going to only talk about German reggae for the rest of our fucking lives. What are you talking about, German?
you know how Germans are notoriously chill and love Bob Marley? Yeah, German reggae.
Oh, whooping ye that beat. What would be the
Buffalo soldier?
Oh, Broadwest soldier. Nazi soldier.
No. So, bad examples.
Yeah.
Bubblegum synth pop. I also heard of country truck driving honky tonk. Too long.
That's too long.
Italy disco space synth. That was one I heard of. Not okay. We're done with that.
Now okay. Go on with more examples.
Another one was I also heard of Finnish acid folk, like from the country of Finland, acid folk, which I'm intrigued, but I also think it's too much.
That one in particular sounds like it's a gun from Borderlands. Because it even has acid as like a modifier. it sounds randomly generated like a gun. In that
it sounds like a fantasy people. We're the Finnish acid folk. Welcome to our humble town.
Well, you see, the Finnish weapons actually give you a +5
to acid
speed.
damage.
The acid damage is great. Like it's okay. I'm going to say that I do. Because like Spotify has a lot of features that you don't really I don't really look at. Okay. And one of which is like it has almost like a TikTok, but for like music genres of like songs. Like I found a page and it was like you enjoy synth pop or something, and you could press it and it'll like pull up songs, and then you can swipe it away like it's TikTok. Those do get very specific, and I feel like we're trying to take on the internet. That because I think this is a portion of the internet has been around for long enough that like subgroups have now subdivided into other subgroups.
Yes, agreed that it's becoming hyper niche, where it's like, I'm not sure the niche needs to exist to that hyper degree. It can just, genres are okay. It's fine to fall into a genre.
It's also, I do find it interesting when people delve deeper and find another layer that constitutes another one of those modifiers.
I also heard of
this is now funky grunge.
But I also said you within 2 words. 2 words is pretty good. Another one I saw, pirate metal. I thought that was pretty great. Pirate metal's good. That's good. It's a good genre.
It does get down to elevator pitches. You got to be concise.
Yes.
Because that immediately I'm like, I know what that is, and I want to listen to it.
Right.
Whereas if bubblegum synth pop is probably something I've listened to before, and it's a nightmare, probably. Even though it's probably something I like, it's probably like a nightmare to anybody else. So it's like, and I can understand. That's one of those things where it's like, I almost feel like it's a warning label on it. Like if you don't like the bubblegum part, like label, you're not going to like the music.
You're not going to like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I agree with you. But it is a symptom, I'm going to say, of a larger like sub-fracturing.
Number 3, final rule.
Yeah.
More birthday celebrations. We're doing it big 2024. We're going big in 2024. I don't want to hear any of this. I'm not really a birthday person. I like to stay home and do nothing. 2024, you're going big. All right, go big. You have my full-blown permission.
I feel like you're my daughter right now, trying to convince me of having a quinceañera for you. This,
I don't even have a listen,
Daddy, please. Everybody's going big.
For me is 29 years old. That's not a big birthday. So I'm not even advocating for myself to have a big blowout. I'm just saying, in general, respect your birthday. Feel special for 1/365th of the year. You can manage that. All right. Just feel a little special.
I'm going to do my own version of this because this is a nice, once again, this is soup of the day. This is a nice sentiment of enjoy your birthday.
Yes.
Treat yourself, pamper yourself.
Yes.
I'm going to put my moderate spin on this of plan somebody else's birthday.
Oh, I like that. Go big for somebody else's birthday.
Yeah, because I think
planning your own birthday is hard, and you do a lot of guesswork about what people are willing to do for you on your own birthday. Yeah. If you have somebody else delegated to organize that for you, you can just go big, no reservations.
Because it is a lot to. Because I planned my own birthday where we did archery. Because I'm already 29. It wasn't a big birthday. It was a great time. We had a great time. But I also have done a surprise party for my girlfriend, and she loved it. Like it was
fun.
It was. I have to say though, the people who were doing the surprising were really bad at it because we were. I had told them where a key was, and they came in while we were grocery shopping.
Right.
We went in, came back out, and got another load before they jumped out.
They were standing in the dark for your big entrance and did nothing.
They saw us because I on the first load was like looking around and stuff like, when's it gonna happen? When's it gonna?
Oh my god, you must have been so confused.
Like, yeah, and I got it. I was like, okay, and then I got back in, and because she got before me, and I heard the surprise, and she's like, it's especially startling for her because she's like, nobody here. Like if they jumped out on first, but now it's like, oh,
then your brain is like,
hurt me,
right?
Like, that's not good.
You've seen your home as empty, and that's in your mind now. That's crazy. My mouth was agape as you were saying that they waited until the second entrance. That is nutty.
I tried to explain how nutty it was to them. They did not. They were like, whatever. We just like, it was just happenstance. Like, and I was like, okay, whatever. But like, other than that, it was a great time, and she really appreciated it. But it is
wild.
But maybe I think surprise parties and part of a good surprise party is knowing when a person is not going to like a surprise party.
It's true. You can't throw a surprise party for everybody. They're not everybody's going to enjoy it.
And that's part of my thing of make sure it's a party that they like. Ask them what they like to do.
It's easy peasy. It's the episode of Parks and Rec where Ben really just for his bachelor party just wants to play board games. You know, that's what he wants. You know, he doesn't want to go out. That's just know yourself, know who you're planning for, go big for somebody else's birthday. I love that
those
rule.
Are the best birthdays. I've had so many parties and birthdays of yelling at Theo specifically, drunk. just you're the imposter. You're the secret Hitler, and I know you're the secret Hitler, and you're just a bad guy.
Listen to me, buddy. I ain't nothing like that.
Take you by the collar.
2024, good year. We're looking forward to it.
Fascinating list because it went. You started off poorly.
I started off with my most controversial one.
Weak,
yeah,
in terms, and then it built up.
I think I started off strong, but I'm glad we got you. Strong. We brought it around. We got you on board.
In comedy potential, it was strong. In actual, like if you're trying to build up because I would probably,
if I'm trying to build my platform, I would hide that under some addendum of some larger bill.
That's similar to: is it better to have first billing or last billing? It's do you put in your weakest one at the beginning or end? I think I would put it in the middle, maybe. Like I would probably most controversial one in the middle. Just kind of soften them up. But that's I'm gonna say medium controversy this year.
Yeah,
because big controversy, medium controversy, low controversy evens out to a medium controversy in the
past. I've gone for the past. I feel like I've really gone for specific people's throats, and this year I've sort of eased back on that.
Yeah, you did go out against once again new mothers, babies a lot,
and people that were like all technical about vegetables. Like fuck that.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of these lists is to let out your inner Larry David.
It's true.
And complain about these things. But you know what? I appreciate it, and I appreciate you, as we will everybody in this new year. But you know what I also appreciate?
Tell me what you appreciate.
some conspiracies.
Ooh, do tell.
This is a thing that I know for a fact that you know about, Theo. We're going to be talking about the Bermuda Triangle, baby.
Oh, yeah. Put them up. Big triangle energy, baby. Put them up. Put them up. Put them up. Put them up.
The Bermuda Triangle up there with quicksand and being bitten by venomous snakes, like having to suck that out of your leg, of things as a kid you thought were going to be a bigger deal. Yeah, like stop, drop, and roll. I thought it was going to be set on fire a lot more.
Or there being 2 cups in front of you and one being poisoned and having to choose which cup is correct. That was a big one for me.
That is specifically Princess Bride. You just watch the Princess Bride too much.
Princess Bride, or what was it? The Last Crusade that had like the cup sequence. Oh yeah.
You chose poorly.
He just turns into an old man. Inconceivable. But the Bermuda Triangle, for people who don't know, is a triangular area that is in the Caribbean of the U.S. And I think it's I forget the exact measurements of it, but it kind of goes towards a little bit Virginia-y. Like Florida is one of the points, and then one of them
is down in
Bahamas, and like one's just out in the ocean,
right?
Which, for just a little bit of background knowledge about this, it is a little bit of a elf on the shelf, in that it was a term that was you think would be older, but is really newer, and it's like they came up with it in a magazine, like it's just something that they came up with.
Because everybody has heard of it, so you'd think that there was some significance.
And for people who have no idea what the Bermuda Triangle, it's that area, and apparently, according to sources, a large amount of ships and airplanes and things go
mysterious
disappear.
Happening. Yeah, things disappear in the Bermuda Triangle, right?
I will have a future conspiracy query about the Bermuda Triangle and what people think happens in the Bermuda Triangle of why it's that way. But this conspiracy query in particular is I'm going to give you examples of ships and airplanes that have gone missing. And I'm going
to give you examples of ships that have not gone missing in the Bermuda.
You got to guess which one's missing. No, that would actually be good if one of them was. You had to figure out which one's missing. No, this is conspiracy query. So out of the examples I'm going to give, one of them I came up with.
Okay.
And then afterwards we'll go over the actual details of it. But from the Wikipedia page of the Bermuda Triangle, the earlier suggestion of unusual disappearances in the Bermuda area appeared in the written article by Edward Van Winkle Jones, which is what a fucking
great name. Love
Edward Van Winkle Jones. That man has been sleeping for so long that he woke up to write this fucking article for the Miami Herald.
I love that they didn't stop at Van Winkle. It's Van Winkle, and they're like, oh, by the way, also Jones.
Van Winkle Jones, yeah. They call me. It's how I differentiate myself from the other Van Winkles.
Yeah.
But it was distributed by the Associated Press and appeared in various American newspapers on September 17th, 1950. So, like, that's the first.
Yeah, it's not that long ago.
Anyone said anything was weird. 2 years later, Fate magazine published, quote, "Sea Mystery at Our Back Door," a short article by George X, which I'm going to say is 100% a pseudonym. I'm George X. We experimented on George, and now we've made George X. Sand, that was the first to lay out the non-familiar triangular area where the losses took place. Sand recounted the loss of several planes and ships since World War II. The disappearance of Sandra, a tramp steamer, the December 19... that's a few of these are examples that I forgot to cut out of this article because they're examples that I'm going to use. The March 1948 disappearance of a fishing skiff with 3 men, including jockey Albert Snyder.
Jockey Albert Snyder to the case.
If I was on a horse right now, I'd get out of this situation.
Me and my horse are taking you to the seas. You'll never see us again.
The December 1948 disappearance of the airborne transport DC-3 charter flight en route from Puerto Rico to Miami, and the January 1949 disappearance of another plane. In February 1964, Vincent Gaddis wrote an article called, and this is where the name comes from, "The Deadly Bermuda Triangle."
Whoa.
In Argosy. So the actual name came up in 1964.
Yeah, not that long ago.
Not that long ago. And they said that it was dating back all the way to at least 1840. The next year, Gaddis expanded the article into a book called Invisible Horizons, and then it kind of went from there. So, which of these things, I'm going to give you a brief like little snippet, and then I'll we go after. Which of these is a fake example of a missing ship or aircraft? A squad of naval planes gone missing on a training mission.
Okay.
A signer of the Declaration of Independence disappeared. Not one, but 2 British airliners disappeared almost 1 year apart exactly. The largest transport ship in the Navy had disappeared in the Triangle. A Confederate ship on its way to secretly negotiate with Britain was lost. And a crew disappeared on a cargo trip back from Rio. And was its own conspiracy.
When did you say
that turned into more?
When did you say the earliest like record was of like weird stuff happening? What's the time range you're dealing with?
Technically, the earliest one that I found was from Christopher Columbus. So that is like but that was like orb lightning, and I'm not going to trust Christopher Columbus. The man didn't even know where he was. The earliest they cited in the Argosy was 1840.
Okay, that for me puts into question the signer of the Declaration of Independence, because that would have been 1700s or early 1800s, maybe at the latest. Squadron of planes, Confederate ship. You know what? I'm going to go with... Yeah.
I'm going to say the last one is not a very good example. I'm going to say that one's real. Okay. Just saying that it's to Rio is not a very good... It's a very interesting story. I just didn't know a good hook for it.
I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to say signer of the Declaration of Independence was the one made up.
You would be incorrect.
Wait, that one's true?
Yeah, that's what? That's wild. The one that was fake was a Confederate ship on its way to secretly negotiate with Britain.
That's a good fake one. Good job. You
tricked I did, me. Yeah, I saw the 1800 stuff, and then I was like, I remembered that the Union specifically blockaded off the South, and so that they couldn't do that. Because that was also part of my Victorian studies, is that the Victorian England's very interesting, where they're like, we don't do slavery. But also, like, can you give us your slave trade stuff? Like, can you? Because they were like, can you just end the Civil War so we can get our cheap cotton? Like, they were not that nice.
Well, anyway.
Let's go through some of these, and a lot of these I took from the Wikipedia articles. I'll make sure to source when I can. The squadron of naval planes on a training mission. This is the most famous example. Actually, it's called Flight 19.
Flight 19. So ominous sounding.
Yeah. At 14:10 hours, so at 2:10, on the 5th of December 1945, a group of 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers took off from the U.S. Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a routine overwater navigational training flight. So this is a training mission. They're in planes that people have termed Iron Birds, like because they're just very they were used in World War II and they're very sturdy.
Just very sound,
Which people use as an example of that they didn't crash or something mysterious happened. And I feel like that's weird. Like, I don't know. The sturdiness of the plane doesn't really factor. I guess for like wreckage is what they want to...
If they didn't properly refuel them, it has no matter. It doesn't matter how sturdy the plane is.
A radio message was intercepted from the flight at around 1600 hours, recording a conversation likely between Taylor, who is the instructor in charge of it, and the pilot of one of the planes. On the recording, one of the student pilots was asked by a crewman for a compass reading, to which the pilot replied, "I don't know where we are. We must have gotten lost over the last turn." On the same recording, Lieutenant Taylor can be heard saying, "Both my compasses are out and I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm over land, but it's broken. I'm sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how far down, and I'm not. I don't know how to get to Fort Lauderdale." At 1820, which is 6:20, the last message from Flight 19 was received. In this recording, Taylor was heard saying, "All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together." All 14 airmen involved in the Flight 19 were never seen or heard from again. But yeah, that's basically... and then they did a big search of like the entire area trying to find these. And there's a lot of like theories, but this is one where I feel I'm going to say as a big overall thing, I don't believe in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
And this to me is an example of I do think that it is maybe a weird area for compasses, like in this example. But I think these guys just got disoriented. And then they just crash into the water, and then that's going to be most of these things. Is like they're going to have real.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
not
it's
like,
definitely focusing on a specific area and sort of cherry picking the unusual things. Like,
yeah, and that's another thing that people use to disprove the Bermuda Triangle is because it's the entire triangle is based on the idea that a lot of planes and ships go missing, but in actuality, not that many.
It's pretty normal amount.
It's pretty average compared but it's just a heavily trafficked area, so people see it more. The signer of the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Lynch Jr. of South Carolina, and from his Wikipedia page, I'm not going to go into his full history because it's a little bit boring and kind of short because he died when he was 30.
Sounds like the most interesting thing he ever did was sign the Declaration of Independence. It sounds like that's really what he's famous for.
He was an attorney. He came to South Carolina, became a politician. He got sick after 2 more years of illness in South Carolina, where he resided with his wife at Peachtree Plantation on the South Santee River, which, by the way, he is absolutely, like, speaking of Nepo babies, every single founding father is a Nepo baby because he was fucking gifted a plantation.
Yep.
Like, it was confusingly called the Peachtree Plantation, and I don't know if they actually had peach trees there. But many suggested that he wanted to travel to Europe in search for a different atmosphere. He and his wife sailed for respite on the Brigantine Polly to St. Eustatius in the West Indies on December 17th, 1779, which the West Indies in the Bermuda Triangle.
Whoa.
The ship is known to have disappeared shortly after, standing as the last record of his life, and he and his wife were lost at sea. At age 30, he was the youngest signer of the Declaration of Independence to die.
It's always interesting when old-timey rich people get bored and just sort of like throw it all away.
Yeah, he didn't throw it all. He was basically going for a vacation. Like, he went fucking missing. I think that's like a terrifying old-timey thing that would happen probably more often than you would think. Like, that's actually a terrifying thing.
You're like, okay, as a vacation, we're going to get on a boat for several weeks with no good guarantee of safety and hope we get to Europe.
I don't know. The not one but two British airliners, that's the BSAA Star Tiger and BSAA Star Ariel. One disappeared in the beginning of January 1948, and then the Star Ariel disappeared in January 17th of 1949, which is one of the reasons, along with Flight 19, of why it got popularized, because it's one of those like, oh, weird coincidence. So people kind of get into it.
People are pattern seekers, so they see these kind of things and they're like, oh, it means something.
This is another one where people are like, what the fuck happened? The largest U.S. naval ship disappearing.
Crazy.
The USS, and this is from the U.S. Naval Institute website, which I also got the Flight 19 stuff from. The USS Cyclops was commandeered by the Navy during World War I.
That's a badass name. The USS Cyclops? Dude, they're coming to blow up your shit.
Oh, hey, what's up, motherfucker?
But it was a gigantic transport ship. That was just commissioned in like a few years before in Maine. In January 9th, 1918, it set sail from Virginia to Rio de Janeiro with a cargo of just under 10,000 tons of coal and returned with 11,000 tons of manganese ore. It had an unplanned stop in Barbados on March 3rd, but after that, none of the 309 souls aboard were heard from again. The Navy did a gigantic search for it, but nothing was found. The major theories was it was going on during World War I. Could have been Germans that blown it up. But this seems a little bit far-fetched because the Germans didn't say that they did it. And also it's a little bit far afield for them. Right. Like going to the Caribbean is like not,
it's pretty out of their way.
More in the middle of the Atlantic.
Also World War I. Yeah. It's like different stage, right? Like the war was the war was in Europe for World War I. Like there wasn't really anything happening on that front in terms of like Barbados being involved, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, there was like World War I is also interesting in that Germany wanted to get Mexico on board and to invade the U.S. Like, there's a whole story about that. So, like, they could be there, but it's unlikely. But one of the crew members, they had like an interview with him in the article, and he's like, all right, the captain was a fucking asshole. And also the crew were like, didn't have high morale, and the ship had a lot of problems. And so what they presumed, they also said that the one guy that knew about manganese ore, they like put on court-martial or something, like put him in the brig, like in the article, like the one guy that would. And so what he thinks happened is they put all the ore in the middle. There's like a structural weakness, or like it was like next to something that blew up, or it just split in half. Like it was just too heavy, and it just like, and then just immediately
just an engineering failure.
Yeah, that
seems plausible.
Which goes with another one of those things where I'm like, I don't think this is paranormal. I don't think fucking aliens are here right now. And then the last one, a crew disappeared on a cargo trip back from Rio de Janeiro. This is a ghost ship story, which I kind of want to get into ghost ships, but ghost ships are weird because they don't usually, the whole point of them is they're a mystery. And so you can't it'd be interesting if you could actually put together what they did, which you a little bit can with this one. The Carol A. Deering was bound from Puerto Rico to Rio de Janeiro in 1920. The original captain, William H. Merritt, had to leave after he got ill and was dropped off in Delaware, replaced by Captain Willis B. Wormwell.
Can you imagine? You're like going to Rio de Janeiro and you're like, oh man, I'm really sick. I gotta get off somewhere. And they're like, well, there's Delaware.
Yeah,
you imagine how much of a bummer that is.
he's got his maracas ready. He's like, I got my dancing pants on.
He's like, I've been really looking to learn how to salsa. Like,
yes, I'm going to leave on my beautiful boat. Oh, what should I have today? I think I'm going to have a 7-Eleven hot dog. Hopefully that'll turn out great for me.
That'll be great for me.
But the captain they replaced him with, they were like, he was a old retired Navy captain.
He didn't know what was going on.
Didn't know, literally did not have good enough eyes to look at the navigation maps.
Woof.
They got to Rio without event, and when sailing back past a few ships before, I'm truncating a lot of this, by the way, before finally showing up, stuck in a North Carolina reef.
What?
So shows up, nobody's on it.
Oh, spooky.
The reef is called Cape Hatteras, aka the Graveyard of the Atlantic.
Wow,
which is
that's very ominous.
It's very ominous, and also makes a lot of sense because, like, I think it's just like ships just constantly get caught.
They crash into it,
especially if it's like right off of North Carolina. In those previous encounters with other ships, they said the crew yelled on a megaphone that they had lost their anchors, and to inform the Deering Company of which they were employed. The other crew were, quote, milling about on deck, which was seen as strange, because normally they aren't like on deck, they're doing stuff. And one of the crew members that was on leave said while he was on shore that he was going to, quote, get the captain before we get to Norfolk, I will.
Ooh, spooky.
So there's
I like
a lot of
the original captain's like, well, if I have to get off at Delaware, I'm at least taking my anchors with me. I'll never go on this boat again.
They just go and they're like, we can't stop. We got to keep going. It's like the movie Speed.
It's like Speed, but on a boat in the Bermuda Triangle. Actually, I would watch that.
But this is where it gets into, this is its own conspiracy query, which I'm not going to like fully get into. I'll list some of the theories people have. But they got onto the boat, empty. There are signs that food was half made. All the crew's stuff was gone. The lifeboats were gone. And there was damage to the steering equipment, including the wheel being shattered, the binnacle box, which I've never heard what that is, but it was stove in, so it was like broken in.
It's the box where you put your binnacles, obviously. Come on.
Binnacle. The rudder disengaged from its stock. The ship's log and navigation equipment were also gone, and then the way, so nobody was on it, and it's like they're like, where the fuck is the crew? And so because they were like, okay, it's stuck in this reef, it became hazards, so they blew it up with dynamite.
That's what you do. That's what you gotta
do. And then another part of the Wikipedia article that was like one of those like side tangents that you're like, oh, this was useless, was they found a message in the bottle that was like, the crew has been handcuffed by pirates, like that kind of thing. And then they figured out the guy who discovered it wrote it. Like,
of course, because he just wanted to add drama. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's just, I want to go into a few of their theories, because they had a couple that were fun. Hurricanes, which makes sense. Yeah. Piracy, which I think is,
that's what I was thinking too.
Strong.
Like, like they take over the ship and then they scrap it and no one can find it.
Yeah. And I mean, the message of the ball, like if it was real, would be a very big indicator, but I don't think it's a bad, because there's another ship that they saw that was like a steamer boat that could have been a pirate boat. So this theory is like, okay. This is interesting. Russian/communist piracy.
What?
They said during a police raid on the headquarters of the United Russians Workers' Party, a communist organization in New York City, officers allegedly found papers that called on members of the organization to seize American ships and sail them to the Soviet Union. This was widely believed to be relevant to the Deering incident at the time, particularly by hardline anti-communists in the government. However,
this
no
is
evidence has been surfaced.
A very hardcore McCarthyism right here.
Yeah.
Russian pirate folk.
Yeah, this is especially in the 1920s. That's like hardcore.
Right.
Like just when they're getting started with communism. They thought they might be rum runners, which was kind of like, what do they work for the CIA? Is this like the drug, getting drugs down to South America? And then I'm going to say my personal second biggest thing is mutiny.
Yep. Right.
I think piracy is pretty good. I think mutiny might be higher than piracy personally.
It seems more likely. Like, it's just like people are discontent on the boat and decide to do something about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then evacuation is one of the things, but that's because the boats were missing. That goes with hurricane. Paranormal. It could be, they could have been abducted by UFOs.
Hey, you never know.
You never know. But those are just some of the theories about that one. But that was Conspiracy Query. And come back next week when I'm going to have some theories into what actually is going on in the Bermuda Triangle.
What the heck's going on?
What the heck's going on? But now we're going to ask what the heck's going on with not my next segment, because we're in an hour.
Because this podcast is about to be a ghost ship, because it's going to be empty of people.
Because,
we'll just, you know what? Let's just leave we're just going to leave the recording running. And you can stay here, but all the people will be... Will and I will leave. It's a ghost ship podcast.
I mean, I'm going to be doing stuff on my computer afterwards.
You're going to be like in the back,
recording, like click.
Yeah, so recording was pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, he's doing well.
Honey, would you like some pizza for dinner? Or what were you thinking for dinner? No, but we've come to the end of this podcast. Oh, how sad it is. But if you have any segments that you want to send to us, send it to segmentcitypodcast@gmail.com. Hit up our Twitter, which is Segment City. Our YouTube is Segment City. And leave us some ratings. Leave us reviews on your podcast network of choice, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, what have you. We love to see them. And we have a very big thank you to give to somebody in particular.
That would be to Rachel Robinson. She does our intro music. And she has music you can find, new music you can find on streaming platforms around the globe. And some say that she is also nicknamed the Cyclops. And she's coming for you. She's got her eye on you. Watch out, Wazowski.
Wazowski. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to end the podcast with iwaspoisoned.com.
Just like the guy who had to stop in Delaware. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's got to get poisoned. This one is a real quick one. And by the way, this is a website where people report where they got food poisoned and what by. This person got poisoned in North Dakota, in Bismarck, North Dakota, at a Sam's Club. All my 3 kids, including myself, got vomiting, diarrhea, and nausea after drinking Capri Sun.
Oh, never drink Capri Sun in North Dakota. Come on.
And then they just have a big picture of Capri Sun.
They gotta include the photo for proof.
Why did you? We know what a Capri Sun looks like.
Stay safe out there, you listener. Don't drink the yellow Capri Sun, just like the yellow snow. Don't do it.
Sun, and don't buy first class tickets for your children. Teach them a lesson. Coach is where they learn those lessons.
in the kids section in the back with the with the door that slides shut.
With all the horses. All the horses and people's dogs.
The horses. Remember the horses that got loose on the plane? They're going to be right next to your kid.
the kid let the horse loose.
That's
probably
right.
not a good idea to put them next to each other. But all right, yeah, that's we're done.